Welcome to the safety video for the Ballston Spa Veterinary Clinic. My name is Jill Hofmann, and I'm part of the safety coordinator team here at the hospital. The purpose for making this video today is to go through the OSHA regulations for our hospital so that we can stay compliant and we can stay safe doing what we love to do. If you do have questions after the video, you can see me, or you can see Amanda, Tina, or the owners, Dr. Anderson and Dr. Solomon. We're going to try and keep it as interesting as possible. Some of the things are a little common sense, but you can bear with us and we'll try and make it fun. Thanks so much. Sit back, enjoy, and pay attention. The most common injuries that occur in the veterinary hospital include slipping, falling from the ladder or countertop, being bit or scratched, poked with a needle, and a back injury due to improper lifting. We have adopted some safety rules here at the hospital to avoid these injuries. General safety rules at the hospital start with the appropriate attire and hygiene. The dress code for the hospital includes wearing non-skid, closed-toed shoes, the appropriate color scrub for the day, a name tag, your hair pulled back, and minimal jewelry. If you're cold here at the hospital, be sure you put your long-sleeve shirt underneath your clothes as to not cover up your scrubs and your name tag. All employees must obtain new clothing as soon as possible and wash hands following exposure to hazardous materials or being just soiled. Using proper personal protective equipment is a must. If you notice that any equipment here at the hospital is damaged or not in working order, please alert your supervisor. Wear protective hearing equipment when you're in the kennel to avoid exposure to decibels. Wear gloves when handling any animals that are potentially infectious or zoonotic, when handling any potentially hazardous medications, or with any contact of any bodily fluid like urine, saliva, blood, feces, etc. When we are informed of a contagious exposure, those areas must be bleached. In this segment for our safety video, we're going to explain how to be safe in an exam room. Here we have the doctor, the assistant, and the owners in the room, and we're using our great hydraulic table to lift our big dog here so that we don't hurt our backs. And we are steadying the dog on the table so we don't have any mishaps where they fall off or get injured that way. And we also just want to make sure that the client or the owner is not able to restrain the dog as well. As far as restraint, we just want to make sure that we leave that to our assistants here at the hospital because we are trained and we are also insured. When we decide what to do as far as the treatment goes and we bring them into the back area, we want to make sure that we put on a slip leash or carry them so that we have full control. Sometimes when the owners put on their collars, it's a little loose. We just want to make sure their stay here doesn't involve any scuffles in the back or getting loose. When you are handling or restraining a patient, start with observing the animal first. Read their body language. Close all the windows and doors to avoid the pet escaping, and determine the best equipment for restraint. This may include a towel, rabies pole, muzzles, gauze ties, squeeze cage, leather gloves, leashes, etc. Make sure that these items are placed back where they belong so that the next person can use them very quickly. When it comes to lifting heavy objects or animals, you are required to ask for help lifting anything over 50 pounds. Never bend at the waist to pick up anything. Kneel down beside it and then lift. We have a hydraulic gurney with wheels, a stretcher, a rolling cart, and plenty of human helpers, so feel free to lift properly and wheel away. General safety housekeeping regulations require that we keep the bathrooms, all work areas, countertops, and floors clean. All exit ways and hallways must be clean and unblocked. If you see a spill, make sure you place the yellow wet floor signs by the spill as soon as possible so that others are alerted while you're getting the materials to clean up the spill from the janitor's closet. Leave several wet floor signs out on the floor while it is wet for any reason. If in the event you spill some hazardous material, you will find the spill kit in the janitor's closet. The spill kit consists of gloves, protective eye equipment, and litter. Place on the personal protective equipment provided and pour litter over the spill. Clean up with the dustpan and alert someone on the safety coordinating team right away.
Today we're going to be talking about laser safety. There are 4 classes of laser. Class 1, such as in your CD-ROM, is not dangerous because it does not reach your maximum permissible exposure. Class 2, such as your barcode scanner, it can be dangerous if you were to look at it for a long period of time, but your blink reflex will usually prevent that from becoming dangerous to you. Class 3, such as a laser pointer, can be dangerous if you were to look at it for a long period of time, but it is not dangerous if you look at it off of a reflective surface. Class 4, such as the laser that we have here, is dangerous if it is viewed off of a reflective surface, which is the differentiating factor between the Class 3 and the Class 4. Therefore, whenever we take the laser into an exam room or into the ultrasound room, we always put this danger sign right on the door, and that way everybody who walks by the room will know that there's a laser in progress and cannot enter the room without the protective eyewear. Anytime we're in the exam room doing a laser, everybody participating does need to wear the protective eyewear so that our eyes do not get damaged. We only have one set of eyes, so we do need to protect them. In addition to everybody in the room wearing the protective eyewear and the danger sign, you'll also hear the laser beeping as it is in progress.
Another area in the hospital that there is potential exposure to radiation is in taking X-rays. Never place any part of your body in the direct radiographic beam, and always use the proper restraints for the animals being X-rayed. Always wear your personal dosimeter badge. As an employee, you have the right to know about the physical and health hazards of your job. For this, we've developed a hazard communication program. The list of the hazardous materials for the hospital are centrally located in the doctor's library on the labeled safety shelf, along with the material safety data sheets, or the MSDS binders. Throughout the hospital, you will see properly labeled containers and signs with appropriate warnings. Every container, even secondary containers, in the hospital must possess a label with the name of the content, hazard warnings, and the name and address of the manufacturer. Please do not mix hazardous chemicals together or store them in warm areas or near electrical devices. MSDS binders contain the safety sheets for each hazardous material in the hospital. In this scenario, Jill has accidentally sprayed herself in the eye while cleaning a cage. She looks at the bottle to see that Rocal is an eye irritant. She goes to the library to read the MSDS sheet on Rocal. In this case, it requires her to rinse her eye, and she heads to the lab to use the eye wash station. Jill pulls off the caps and turns on the water. After the treatment, she feels much better, but looks a lot worse. No matter the type of injury, how big or small, you do need to fill out and hand in the employee injury report. So if someone is injured, assess the situation. Determine if we need to administer first aid or dial 911. In both cases, be sure to fill out the injury report and notify someone on the safety coordinating team. In this scenario, I need to dispense some Suloxone, which is located right here on this top shelf. And I'm vertically challenged, so I cannot reach this Suloxone. Therefore, I need a ladder or a step stool. There's one handy right here underneath this counter in pharmacy at all times. Because we have upper shelves, it's very convenient. The ladder itself, we need to choose the best one for the job at hand. If I was going to do electrical work, I would not choose a metal ladder. This ladder itself, you want to make sure has non-slip pegs on the bottom and that the flat surfaces are also non-skid as well. You want to choose an area that you can place it onto the ground where it will not slip or fall in any way. You do not want to put a step stool or a ladder on another surface like a counter to get a higher height. You want to choose a ladder that's appropriate for your job. The most important thing is that you don't want to put it in front of a door or anything that can be opened into the ladder to where you would fall off. There is only one person for the ladder at one time, and you want to use both hands when ascending and descending the ladder. Make sure that you are facing the ladder towards the area that you are going to climb, and you use both hands and your feet to go up and down the ladder. As you ascend the ladder, you just want to steady yourself, like so that you can actually reach what you need to get. In this case, we're getting the Suloxin 0.8 milligrams, and you're going to set it here, and we're going to count it out. You want to use both your hands to descend from the ladder, making sure that you do not fall. Once you are all set with the ladder can be collapsed. Make sure that you don't put your fingers or your hands in the collapsible parts because you will get pinched in those areas. And then place it back where you found it so that the next person can go ahead and use it the next time. The Suloxin now then can be counted out. You want to always be sure that you aren't touching the oral medicines that we have here at the hospital. We actually have some counters right here. So you would open this up and use this little piece of plastic to count them out individually. And then you would go ahead and count your medicines and then place them into the bottle. All prescribed drugs and products must be labeled before being dispensed. In this segment, we're going to be talking about how to handle sharps. In this scenario, we have actually used this needle and syringe, and we'd like to put the cap back on. Never actually take the cap and put it back onto the needle in midair. You always need to take your cap, place it onto a counter or a flat surface, take your syringe and your needle and place it back into the cap, like so. If you have used your syringe and your needle for something like euthanol, which is a hazardous material, you never want to take apart the syringe from the needle and the cap. You're going to take the entire thing and discard in the hazardous waste container sharps, like so. Hospital conduct rules include no running, horseplay, throwing objects, or scuffling. Welcome to the Ballston Spa Veterinary Clinic Employee Lounge. Please take full advantage of this room by placing your food and your beverages in our fabulous human consumption refrigerator. On your break, come on in, dine, and enjoy your favorite show. In case of an emergency, immediately call 911. If it's a fire, pull the nearest fire alarm. Use the nearest fire extinguisher only if you have formal training and the fire is small and confined. Their locations are under the employee mailboxes near the lockers, in the lobby near the scale between rooms 1 and 2, in the treatment near ultrasound, and at the top of the stairs between the doctor's offices.
Before using the extinguisher on a fire, look at the fire class symbols on the front label to make sure the extinguisher you have is suitable for the type of fire you're facing. The most common classes of fires are A, B, C, and K. Class A fires involve common combustibles like wood, paper, and tires. Class B fires involve flammable liquids like gasoline and petroleum oil. Class C ratings involve energized equipment or things that are plugged in, like appliances, computers, televisions, and electric machinery. Class K fires involve cooking oils and greases, like vegetable fats. Once you've determined that the extinguisher is the correct type for the hazard, proceed to operate the extinguisher using the pass technique to control and extinguish the fire. First, hold the extinguisher upright and pull the pin. Next, stand 8 to 10 feet from the fire and aim the nozzle at the base of the fire. Do not get too close or aim the nozzle too high. Once the nozzle is aimed at the base of the fire, squeeze the levers together to begin discharge of the fire extinguishing agent. Maintain your distance from the fire and sweep the nozzle from side to side, sweeping 3 to 6 inches beyond the right and left edges of the fire. Discharge the extinguisher until contents are exhausted to prevent reignition. Move around the fire to confirm it is completely extinguished.
Each animal in the hospital should have a carrier or a leash next to the cage for quick and easy transport out of the hospital. Exit the building and proceed to the meeting area on the far lawn near our hospital sign. Evacuation maps are posted in each exam room in the hospital, mapping the quickest exit route. Always be cautious around corners and the stairway. Use the handrails and do not block hallways or exits. After exiting the hospital, be sure that everyone is accounted for and never re-enter the building until the hospital is deemed safe. Contact Dr. Anderson and Dr. Salomoon to alert them if they are not here. There are 3 types of workplace violence: stranger, client, and employee violence. Employee violence usually consists of theft of property. To avoid this, we have employee lockers to hold all belongings. We only allow authorized persons to access the building. To help promote personal safety, we have a well-lit parking lot and a parking policy. If you arrive at the hospital and you see less than 4 cars parked in the client parking lot, please park in that area unless you have the late shift for the day. If you're leaving the hospital when it's dark, you should be parked in the employee parking lot closest to the exit door and leave with a buddy if possible. In case of violence, call 911. From climbing a ladder to exiting the building in an emergency situation, remember the guidelines you learned to ensure your safety and the safety of those around you.
Yeah, baby!
On your bake, on your bake, when you bake in the kitchen.
I hate doing this. That was my best.